Stern, Fox News. A driver drove into a crowd today, injuring at least 30 people, some critically, and the driver was shot. Fox's Christina Coleman reporting.
The chaotic scene after a driver rammed his vehicle into a crowd outside of a reggaeton nightclub in East Hollywood. This area has a very, very active nightlife. Police initially got a call regarding shots fired and a man who had been removed from a nearby business around 2 a.m. Well, as it turns out, police say this person who was shot was the same person who plowed their vehicle into the crowd. They say an altercation broke out between the driver and some folks in the crowd that he plowed into, and someone allegedly shot the driver. We're in the preliminary stages of this investigation, and investigators are trying to figure out if the driver intentionally rammed into the crowd. Again, this is a very busy area, a lot of people out there at night.
Authorities still searching for the shooter who fled on foot. Still no explanation for yesterday's explosion in the parking lot of an L.A. County Sheriff's Department training academy. The blast killed 3 deputies. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard declassifying documents that claims the Obama administration manufactured and politicized intelligence and tried to subvert President Trump's 2016 presidential win. She joined Fox and Friends Weekend to weigh in.
The intelligence community assessed essentially Russia doesn't have the tools, the capability, or the intent to try to change the outcome of the U.S. presidential election.
America is listening to Fox News.
Stay on top of the latest forecast with America's Weather Team in the palm of your hands.
Here's the latest from America's Weather Center.
It's Fox weather updates throughout your busy day, every day.
That heat's going to be out there for one more day.
Temperatures being 30 degrees above average.
Put the power of over 100 meteorologists and the worldwide resources of Fox in your hands with the Fox Weather Podcast. Precise, personal, powerful. Subscribe and listen now at foxnewspodcasts.com. Connect to Fox News Audio on the Fox News app. Listen to hear your favorite hosts like Brian Kilmeade, Jimmy Fallon, and Guy Benson standing up for what's right, live and via podcast. Just click listen, then swipe right and hear the latest news updates on your time. And scroll down to hear the latest podcasts from Fox News. And it's even easier to listen in the car with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Get programming alerts and notifications. Fox News Audio is on the Fox News app. The voices America trusts. Download it now.
President Trump.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What Sunday might bring. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending this hour. It's another hot summer weekend in Indiana with a chance of thunderstorms sticking around throughout the state, too.
Basically, any thunderstorm in this atmosphere is as saturated as it is going to have the threat for heavy rain, localized flooding, particularly in areas that have already seen rain in the last several days.
Meteorologist at the National Weather Service in Indianapolis, Joe Neild, says similar to Saturday, Sunday will likely see showers and storms in the afternoon and evening hours. Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears facing some criticism from Indiana Governor Mike Braun for not being tough enough on crime. Here's what he had to say about that.
I view everything through the prism of can we prevent crime and can we solve crime? And if the governor has suggestions on how that can be done here in Marion County, we're happy to have that conversation.
He says permitless carry has made it easier for guns to get in the hands of criminals. Misconduct and harassment are the charges against a police officer in Indianapolis. Police say IMPD officer Nicholas Colley had been contacting his ex-spouse throughout the year despite repeatedly being told to stop, and he even showed up at his former spouse's place of work while on duty. Colley has been with IMPD for 9 years. He's been placed on administrative leave. And the man convicted in the 2017 Delphi murders case, Richard Allen, is now being held in a facility in Oklahoma. Allen previously was held in the Pendleton Correctional Facility. He's now been placed in the Lexington Assessment and Reception Center in Cleveland County, Oklahoma. Last year, Allen was served a 130-year prison term for the murders of 2 young girls in Delphi back in February of 2017. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Tonight, lingering showers and storms as the severe threat goes down. Low temperatures in the lower 70s. skies. And for Sunday, scattered showers and storms become more likely as the day goes on, highs in the mid-80s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
Everybody knows Hubler's got the best warranty around. 10 years, 200,000 miles. But did you know? Now you can get that same limited powertrain warranty on new Toyotas. Introducing the all-new Hubler Toyota. Get grand opening savings all month long. And right now, lease a new 2025 RAV4, just $349 per month. Or a new Tacoma, $299 per month. Plus, choose from Camrys, Corollas, Highlanders, Tundras, and more.
Hubler's got you covered.
At the all-new Hubler Toyota on US 31 South in Indianapolis. Visit HublerToyota.com. Grand opening savings and the best warranty around. 10 years, 200,000 miles.
Cover me!
Select models. Approved credit. Plus tax tag title license 199 dealer doc. RAV4 model 4432. Tacoma model 7540. 36 months. $29.99 due. Zero security. 10,000 annual miles. 15 cents per mile thereafter. Expires 7/31.
The Attorney General's office wants to put your money back in your pocket. Visit indianaunclaimed.gov and search for yourself, your loved ones, or your business. It's fast, easy, and free.
Through their service, veterans have our backs. Now we should have theirs. Learn more at gotyoursix.org.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is the Second Amendment, and this is the Gun Guy.
Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, bang, bang.
With Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And good afternoon and welcome to the Gun Guy Show here on 93 WIBC. Thrilled you're with us. Hope you're enjoying this weekend. A little bit rainy out there. A lot of people walking around downtown. It's the WNBA All-Star Game tonight. In fact, it's All-Star Weekend. There have been a number of other events. Three-point contest, the skills contest. The game is, I believe, 8:15 tonight, if I read that correctly. So there are a lot of people downtown, and that's great. We love to see the visitors. At the same time, you have to be a bit worried about the current state of downtown Indianapolis, the current state of Marion County, but with a focus on downtown, given the amount of crime we've seen, either right on the circle, right off the circle, right in the mile square, as we call it, right in downtown Indy. And we saw what can legitimately be called a mass shooting due to the number of people shot just a block off of Monument Circle. We saw another shooting involving multiple injuries right here on Monument Circle. And so that's obviously a point of concern. It's something I've talked about here on my show. I've also addressed that issue on Hammer and Nigel, and I've given some comments and some suggestions on what I think could help improve the situation, including enforcement of the curfew ordinance. Yes, it's an ordinance. It's not a law. It's not a criminal statute. But it is a tool with which law enforcement can get some underage kids off the street. Because a lot of these shootings we're seeing and a lot of the problems that we're trying to address are very young people. You look at the people who are involved in these shootings, both as perpetrators or suspects and victims. We're talking 13, 14, 15. A whole lot of them are certainly under 18, so they're juveniles. And involved in shootings, involved on both sides of shootings in terms of being the shooter and the shootee, and in some cases murder victims. And we have large numbers of unsupervised young people running around in downtown, and an incredibly high number of them have guns. And so that's something that we're trying to address, and something that I've talked about here on the radio. And the state government now, in the form of the governor and some members of the General Assembly, are looking at this saying, listen, what's bad for Indianapolis, including what's bad for downtown Indianapolis, is bad for Indiana. And it's certainly bad for those of us who work or live or travel to or shop or recreate in downtown Indianapolis. And so the state government's talking about perhaps taking some measures. And Governor Braun, just in the last 24, 48 hours, has come out with some criticism of Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears, saying he doesn't see Ryan Mears doing a particularly effective job of prosecuting and ultimately incarcerating a lot of the people who are committing violent crimes in Marion County. And part of that criticism was levied specifically at Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears, in addition to, I think, the criminal judicial system here in Marion County, in terms of the sentences being handed out, et cetera. And it's interesting because Ryan Mears then responded. And I believe this was a press conference, but Ryan Mears gave a statement to the media where he was responding to the criticism from Governor Braun. And you can find the whole statement, at least it's about 5 minutes long, on the WIBC website. And it's in an article entitled Ryan Mears Responds to Governor Braun Criticism, something along those lines. But one part of this, as you might guess, I had a lot of people forward me comments on this, but one part of this certainly caught my attention. As someone who fought for constitutional carry, or what people can also legitimately call permitless carry, as someone who fought for that for 10 years, helped write the statute, and was extremely thrilled when we got it passed. I also said, after we ultimately got it passed in 2022, I said, well, be ready, because while this was exactly the right thing to do, we're going to have liberal politicians and others, people in the media certainly, that are going to blame permitless carry or constitutional carry for every damn thing that happens. I said, somebody spits on the sidewalk and they're going to blame constitutional carry, so let's just be ready. Well, that's why this particular statement from Ryan Mears certainly caught my attention.
When you encourage everyone to have a gun, when you pass permitless carry, it should come no surprise to anyone that those guns are going to end up in the hands of kids. And when you have no private regulation of gun sales, it should come as no surprise that those guns are going to end up in the hands of kids.
So I'm driving in my car and I'm listening to John Herrick, our news director here at WIBC, who does an absolutely fabulous job, by the way, talk about Ryan Mears' news conference. And then he played that audio, and as you might guess, I reacted forcefully there within the confines of my car anyway, to just say, you've got to be kidding me. Because if you break this down a little bit, it says when you encourage everyone to have a gun when you pass permitless carry, does permitless carry have anything to do whatsoever with the process of acquiring a gun, of buying a gun? No, it has no effect whatsoever. In fact, I haven't seen any data from any state, including Indiana, that suggests that more people go out and buy guns when you have permitless carry. You've never needed a license to buy a gun. In Indiana, we call it the license to carry handgun. You've never needed one to buy a gun. You go in, pass a background check, fill out the documentation, and you walk out with your gun. You don't need a license. So permitless carry has nothing to do, constitutional carry has nothing to do with the process by which you buy a gun. It has nothing to do with the number of guns that people own. It has to do only with the fact that people 18 plus, let's emphasize that, 18 and up, who are not prohibited by federal law or state law from possessing firearms, which excludes a lot of people. How Ryan Mears started out this statement: when you encourage everyone to have a gun when you pass permitless carry. Everyone, Mr. Mears. Everyone. Oh, so felons. We're encouraging felons to have a gun by passing permitless carry. Well, of course not. because a felon can't possess a gun under permitless carry. We're domestic batterers. We're encouraging domestic batterers to possess guns. Is that right, Mr. Mayor? No, because they can't lawfully possess a gun under constitutional carry, or people under domestic violence orders of protection. And like I said, if you're under 18, you're specifically prohibited. And even when he starts about, and I think he got his words turned around a little bit, he said when you have no private regulation of gun sales, I think he's saying no regulation of private gun sales. He put the private in the wrong place there. Not that I've never misspoken myself. So we'll cut him a break because I think we know what he meant. When you have no regulation of private gun sales, well, is that true? He said it should be no surprise that some of those guns end up in the hands of kids. So if there's a 15-year-old kid out on the street today who walks up to me and says, hey, man, I understand you carry a Glock 365. I'd really like to buy that from you. And I sell that to that 15, 16, or 17-year-old kid. According to the statement, no regulation of private gun sales, which is what I think what he meant to say in a jumbled sort of way. That certainly suggests that me selling that 15 or 16 or 17-year-old kid my gun was legal. Is that legal? No. I go to jail. I go to prison for doing that. That's illegal. How can you associate that with a number of kids running around with guns, with juveniles illegally, not just carrying guns, but using those guns to commit crimes, including the crime of murder? And I got to tell you, when I heard that quote, where what is he doing? Prosecutor Ryan Mears is blaming Indiana's gun laws, particularly laws associated with private gun sales and specifically constitutional carry. You know what I thought of? I thought of a quote from FOP President Rick Snyder, who's going to join us here after this next break. A quote from him in the open letter he published addressing the violence in Marion County. And he speaks on behalf of thousands, literally. 3,000, I believe, is the number, state, local, and federal police officers who do their jobs right here in Marion County. He represents them as president of the Fraternal Order of Police. And he published an open letter talking about addressing the problem of violent juveniles carrying guns and using guns in downtown Indianapolis. And he published a very well-written, very eloquent, and I think very effective open letter on that issue. And he included within that open letter this quote: if anyone alludes to Indiana's gun laws as the problem, they are either ignorant or willfully indifferent to the facts. Juveniles have never been able to lawfully possess firearms. Dangerous possession of guns by those underage, pointing guns, firing guns, and shooting people in acts of wanton violence are crimes and always have been. That's perfectly stated. So it's not the need for new laws, or it's not blaming constitutional carry that's the issue. It's enforcing existing law. And it was certainly prescient. It was certainly a great prognostication for Rick Snyder to include in his open letter what starts with, if anyone alludes to Indiana's gun laws as the problem, because that's exactly what Ryan Mears just did. Well, we're taking a break. When we come back, we'll have FOP President Rick Snyder and get his thoughts on this press conference from Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears. Right now, we're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Sun's up, the coffee is brewing, and Tony Katz is your morning information barista.
Tony Katz, good to be with you.
Clarity.
We're not interested in having this debate. We're only interested in honestly addressing the issue.
Context.
We should not present this in any other light. The objective is the destruction of Western civilization.
And a little caffeine.
Only the Constitution should rule.
Tony Katz in the Morning News, weekdays 6 till 9 on 93 WIBC.
Guy Relford for Tactical Firearms Training, and our most popular class is Essentials of Indiana Gun Law. This is 5 hours of the most important legal information you need as an Indiana gun owner. We've got one coming up in October. I just taught one last weekend, so the next one's going to be in October out at Parabellum Firearms and Indoor Range there on Kingston Street in Avon, Indiana. It's $50 for an individual, $95 for couples, and this is exactly the information you need to stay on the right side of the law as an Indiana gun owner. We include a detailed discussion of the law of self-defense, including the use of deadly force in self-defense or the defense of others, that and a whole heck of a lot more. It's 5 hours, and it's exactly what you need to hear if you're an an Indiana gun owner. Check it out at tactical-firearms.com. You can click on upcoming courses at tactical-firearms.com.
Citizens, since we each upgraded to Xfinity in our homes, the Wi-Fi has been booming. It's fair to say our town has officially become a boomtown.
Mayor, will I be able to drop into multiplayer gaming battles with low lag?
The lag won't be an issue, but your questionable skills may be.
And what if I have hundreds of devices on the Wi-Fi? Purely hypothetical.
Seems like a lot, but sure, hundreds of devices all booming together with the Xfinity Gateway. Yes, friends and neighbors, with Xfinity, the Wi-Fi is booming.
The Wi-Fi isn't the only thing that's booming. Now get the most reliable Wi-Fi and our best-in-class equipment for one consistent price for 5 years guaranteed. All in. Plus, get unlimited data included and no annual contract. All with the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. New residential customers only. Select plans only. Xfinity Gateway with Xfi Complete required for unlimited data except in certain areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024. Actual speeds vary.
Has your house become a burden? Why not sell it to us? Simple Quarters is a local Christian company that loves to assist people in difficult situations. Simple Quarters has helped over 3,000 families sell their homes in Indiana.
Wanda's been in real estate. I've been in construction, so she would find properties that we could fix up and resell or rent.
Probably we've flipped about 40 houses. I don't want to do it anymore. Health is not good. We're in our early 80s. Sometimes you have to give it up.
James, he did a good job. James was very cordial and, like I say, responded to our phone calls and kept in contact with us. So he did a good job.
When I got the purchase agreement, and he did have things in there that was pertinent to me. It's important.
Yeah, James followed through on what he
Yeah.
said. Did what he said he was going to do.
Yeah.
Other companies make broken promises, but at Simple Quarters, we keep our word. Sell your home to people you can trust. Call Simple Quarters at 317-900-HOME. 317-900-HOME.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cybersecurity must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business. Powering possibilities.
Now through July 21st, new customers can get started with 300 megabit internet and Security Edge for $69 a month for 24 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, find out how to get a $500 prepaid card for your business. Call and switch to Comcast Business today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell, founder of Cordell & Cordell. Divorce is complicated, especially when your small business or professional practice is involved. At Cordell & Cordell, we understand that these assets raise unique valuation and allocation issues. For 35 years, we've helped doctors, lawyers, and small business owners navigate divorce with confidence. Call us at Cordell & Cordell. Let me tell you, I understand on a personal level, your business is much more than a job. It's your legacy.
101 West Ohio, Indianapolis. CordellCordell.com.
Up to 100 times more potent than morphine, the tiniest amount of illegal fentanyl is all it takes to cause an overdose. Learn more at cdc.gov/overdose.
Find the path to recovery that works for you. Learn more at cdc.gov/stopoverdose.
Second to none on the Second Amendment. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. I just got a message on my Facebook that said, "I can't believe you called Rick Snyder precious." I said, "Well, listen, I like Rick a lot. I didn't say precious. I said prescient." And yeah, it's kind of close. I mean, having pre-knowledge, being able to foresee things. Prescient is the word that I use. But with that, let's welcome FOP President Rick Snyder back to the Gun Guy Show. Rick, I'm so glad you're here.
Hey, thanks for having me. I can see the shirts being made off of that.
That's exactly right. Well, listen, I literally thought of you immediately. I mean, spontaneously and immediately when I heard WIBC's coverage of the Rick Mears press conference. And listen, it was fairly amazing to me that I shouldn't say amazing. It was interesting to me that you were able to so accurately predict at least part of what we heard from Ryan Mears yesterday.
Well, it's just proof positive that when politicians don't know what to do, they fall back on the only thing that they do know. And Ryan Mears is a gun control guy.
Yeah.
He believes in restricting the rights of law-abiding folks while abdicating accountability for the lawbreaker, and he thinks somehow that's going to make us safer. And he's not just wrong, guy. He's dead wrong. The reason juvenile criminal violence with guns has skyrocketed is because of the so-called juvenile justice reforms in Marion County. And Ryan Mears has supported those. He supports reimagining criminal justice and defunding the police. He supported cutting the bed space at the Juvenile Detention Center by over 55%. They lowered the number of beds in the previous center from 144 to only 64 beds with the express intent of not incarcerating juveniles who were committing crimes. And then that artificially creates this overcrowding issue and forces the courts, to release the juvenile offenders back onto the streets. And then he took it a step further. People forget this. We don't. We've got the receipts. He then stopped charging juveniles for crimes and bought them 1-year passes to the Boys and Girls Club in lieu of incarceration, and then said there would be no expectation that they even attend or any follow-up to ensure that anybody was being held accountable. That's what you're getting in Indianapolis, and that's what's leading to these issues. No consequences.
And the no consequences part of it, to me, there's two elements to it that are equally as important. One is you're not taking bad kids off the street who are actually committing crimes where they could be kept off the street. But the second, and probably more even pervasive problem that directly results from that, is these kids know there's no consequence. The word has gotten out. They talk, right? I mean, they're running around together in groups, and they know there are no consequences, which leads to the brazen acts of violence that we see downtown, right in front of police officers, in some cases, right in front of cameras.
Well, that's why we've said, if you're so big on specifically guns, wouldn't it make sense that you would be aggressively and assertively prosecuting crimes involving guns, especially with teens and juveniles? That's why we've said, prove it. Put up or shut up. Show us your numbers. But you see, he doesn't want to do that because the true facts show that he's weak. That's why we said your prosecutor will never share with you how many arrests for crimes with guns are made by the police, nor how many of those arrests that he dismisses versus prosecutes. And then the biggie is, of the ones that he prosecutes, what's the outcome? What's the average sentence served for crimes involving guns? Listen to this. In 2021, out of hundreds of shootings that we had that year, and for the last 5 years we've had record levels of violence, he only filed 36 cases on shootings, and for the vast majority of those, he charged battery with a deadly weapon when it was a non-fatal incident. He then flipped right around and then started publicly blaming the cops, saying that they had poor solve rates on their cases, and there was a lack of community trust in police. No, sir. It's a lack of confidence in successful prosecutions. That's our problem, guy. There's a fear of retribution from violent offenders that are released on sweetheart plea deals, and a reluctance for folks to come forward because of Ryan Mears' reluctance to do his job. And as you pointed out, it's not just us saying that anymore. The governor of Indiana had to get on TV and publicly say to Ryan Mears, get your act together and do the work. But how did he respond, guy? Once again, instead of pointing to solutions, Ryan Mears points his feckless finger at the police, our victims, and our families instead of his failures to act. And that's why we say that our capital city deserves better.
When you heard his quote that I played here, I think right before we brought you on, that did specifically point at permitless carry, talked about a lack of regulation on so-called private gun sales. Mine, after I punched a steering wheel a couple of times and said some choice words, was just to roll my eyes to say, do you not understand how these kids are acquiring their guns? Do you think that any kid who's not eligible for a license anyway is going to be affected in any way, shape, or form by whether we have a license to carry or not, since they're all ineligible for under 18 from ever getting a license. And then, or to say, oh, well, I better not acquire this gun without a background check and a private transaction because that's now illegal, according to a law that Ryan Mears would like to see, when it's already illegal for them to buy a gun as a minor or acquire a gun as a minor anyway, much less to then turn around and carry it in public. So we need new laws. We shouldn't have passed constitutional carry. And I look at this and I said, does he not understand the reality of how these kids actually get their guns and what laws that they already are violating, as you eloquently pointed out in your open letter, that are not being prosecuted, not even being arrested for, because those crimes ultimately don't get prosecuted by Ryan Mears?
Well, I think what it shows is the senselessness of his statement. I mean, I think it's proof positive that he has no plan. It struck me that he rebukes the governor by saying you can't just form criticism and have no proposed solutions. Let me assure you, the governor of the state of Indiana and the Indiana legislature are more than poised to enact some serious solutions if it's needed. But he has no plan, and instead of showing in that moment, hey, governor, here's what he has executed as a prosecutor, he simply made excuses. That's you got to keep hearing that. There is no plan. That's why I always call him more talk Mears. He's all talk and even less action. His problem is he's stuck. He's left holding the bag on the failed policies and dangerous agendas that he has stood by. See, Ryan made the political calculation that he would be better served by jumping onto the soft on crime bandwagon with the likes of his major city mentors like Marilyn Mosby in Baltimore. You remember her?
Oh, yeah.
Kimberly Fox in Chicago, Larry Krasner in Philadelphia, and they're all a train wreck. And that's the exact same philosophies that he subscribes to. So criticism by our police professionals directed toward him isn't based on his political affiliation. I want to make that clear. It is his tragic and atrocious outcomes. And, heck, remember, we endorsed his predecessor, Terry Curry, for 3 consecutive times, and Terry was a lifelong Democrat. But you know what, guy? He wasn't a defund the police Democrat.
No.
And, he supported Ryan Mears as his replacement, but I can tell you, as a friend of Terry's, I can tell you he regretted it once the mask came off, and Ryan Mears revealed his true intentions to lean into the left-wing radical agendas and their misguided policies.
Yeah, I also considered Terry a friend, and I've always thought of him as an effective prosecutor, and it is, to me, night and day what we saw under his administration, what we see today. I mean, I think he was a highly respected prosecutor. It didn't matter that he had a D after his name. I always thought that he did a fine job down there, and I told him on many occasions when I'd see him at the city-county building, even in court. Well, do you think, Rick, let me leave you with this. Do you think there is a role for, given where we are with Ryan Mears and where we are with the Marion County administration generally, do you think there is a place for state government, that there is a place for a state official like the governor to actually have a role in addressing the problems we're seeing in Marion County?
I think there's 2 key things that could be done. There's been public discussion about perhaps we need a special policing district for downtown Indianapolis. I held a press conference earlier this week, just a couple of days ago, on Monument Circle, and I made this point. We don't need different police downtown. We've got that well in hand. And furthermore, it doesn't matter how many police or what police you put down there, they're all going to run into the same wall and obstacle, which is this prosecutor. So what I suggested on Thursday was perhaps we need to consider a special prosecuting district within our capital city due to the unique needs, but also the unique challenges that we're facing. And I think a great way for state to have intervention on these local matters is to have a check and balance on non-compliant prosecutors, especially, who refuse to do their job. Ryan Mears spends more time telling you what crimes he won't prosecute versus the ones that he will. So I strongly encourage your audience, start demanding of your elected officials that we pass a law that has a recall option, if for no other person than prosecutors and perhaps judges at the minimum. so that there is a check and balance. And so a governor with the assistance of the legislature or however it's set up could actually remove and replace those who refuse to do their job, like Ryan Mears.
Excellent. Well, listen, Rick Snyder, FOP Lodge 86 president, it's always a pleasure when you come on the show. I always enjoy our conversations, even off the air. You're doing a great service for our rank and file police officers out there and for the city, and I appreciate your time here coming on WIBC with me today.
Yeah, thank you, man. And please, your audience, pray for our officers that are going to be out there protecting our city tonight.
You bet, 100%. Rick Snyder, FOP president, thanks so much. We're past the bottom of the hour. It's time to take a break. Come back. I'll go to the phone lines. We've had some other people call in. I'll go to the phones when we come back. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
Now, the idea of Uber goes against everything we were taught as kids, though.
What's that?
Never get into a car with a stranger.
But there's vetting.
Now we pay for it. We're literally paying the stranger to take us somewhere.
But at least there's some sort of vetting. You know the name of the person's coming.
So you'll know your kidnapper. It's like having an alarm on your car. Great, I can hear it being stolen.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Have you heard about Galaxy Concrete Coatings and their transformation? Your neighbor Bruce did.
Well, the project I was wanting to accomplish was my driveway. I wanted to see if I could get something that looked halfway decent, that would last a while. We also had a side patio surface redone.
Garage, basements, patios, sidewalks, driveways, Galaxy will transform your surface in as little as 1 day.
The crew was very, very good, excellent. The end result was just super. It is non-slippable surface. I get this if you want to make sure you're not going to have any people slipping or sliding when it rains.
Commercial or residential, 4 times stronger than epoxy, and it comes with a lifetime warranty.
The end result was just super. It was very easy to keep this surface clean. I had tire tracks all over it, and I just took out my hose, sprayed it down, and it looks just like new again.
Click on GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com and remember to like us on Facebook. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. We are out of this world.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show next Saturday and Sunday at the Howard County Fairgrounds in Greentown. The best dealers in the region, hundreds of tables, just $6 for adults. Kids 12 and under get in free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade. Next Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Howard County Fairgrounds in Greentown. For more info, visit CentralIndianaGunshows.com.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Fox News, I'm Daria Albinger. The nation's director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, says she is declassifying documents which reveal the Obama administration manufactured and politicized intelligence and tried to subvert President Trump's 2016 win.
It was essentially a years-long coup that was launched against President Trump before he even had the opportunity to take his oath of office and be sworn in as President of the United States.
Democrats say there's nothing of the sorts in the documents. The president had a dinner with Republican senators.
This is really a celebration because we hit a lot of home runs, and we're going to keep hitting them. And I just want to thank you.
But critics say the president's first months in office have been marked by overreach and actions that will hurt more Americans than they help. America's listening to Fox News.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and stop smoking now without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back.
Totally changed my life.
It's amazing. I don't have any cravings. You want to quit, but have found it impossible? This is the thing for you. I have absolutely no craving. It's the darndest thing I have ever seen in my life.
It's not for entertainment. It's for results.
Do it. It works. Period.
You've tried everything else. You need to come and try this.
Early bird special, only $49.99 guaranteed. No
no irritability, no cravings, because don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all. In addition, use hypnosis to lose all the weight and destroy unwanted cravings. Seminars Thursday, July 31st at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m., stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Or Saturday, August 2nd at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m., stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Hey, it's Big Joe for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Jim's Heating and Air Conditioning. Owner Jim Scott is based in Clinton County, but they're now serving a larger area.
Boone County and Hamilton County, there are just not enough HVAC contractors in those areas to handle the demand. So we can offer a value for them because of our 5-star rating, family-owned, quality.
On the north side, give Jim's a call at 765-601-1461. Jim's is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
What if one day could change the trajectory of your life? A sharpening of character, a challenge to grow deeper, stand stronger, and lead better in faith, family, and purpose. At the Life Church Men's Event on Saturday, August 2nd, you'll hear raw truth from men who've been through the fire. You'll worship, connect, and leave with more than inspiration. You'll leave with a battle plan. Show up, lean in, let God do the rest. Register at lifechurchin.com.
The show about gun rights, gun safety, and responsible gun ownership. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. I'll tell you what, we've had some folks on hold who have called in. Let's go to the phone lines. And I believe it's Frank has called in. Frank, welcome to The Gun Guy Show.
Hello, Guy. How are you today?
Good, sir. You doing all right?
I'm doing fine, Got the dishes done and got those things out of the way.
There you go. Well, what you got for us here?
Anyway, wife and I are planning a vacation for next year in the New England states. And I've been hearing about the National Reciprocity Act, and I don't know if it's what it's all cracked up to be or not, and I don't want to be going along and sticking my head in the lion's mouth.
Oh, yeah.
So to speak.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Maryland, some of those states, yeah, I mean, you'd be in a world of hurt if you got caught with your handgun there. The primary bill we've kept an eye on, Frank, is what's called the Constitutional Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act. It's H.R. 38 in the House. I believe it was successfully voted out of committee, but has never gotten a vote on the floor. And there's a mirror bill, I think pretty much the identical bill that was also introduced in the Senate. Neither one of them have gotten a vote on the floor of either the House or the Senate. So it's just sort of sitting there right now. So it is not passed. I would love for Congress to turn their attention to those things. You know, we were pushing hard for the Hush Act, which is Shush Act, I should say. The suppressors help save hearing, and that would have removed all regulation really around suppressors. Then that focus sort of shifted to the Hearing Protection Act, which simply would have taken suppressors out of the NFA. That provision got included into the big beautiful bill, as Trump called it, and ultimately got morphed into just taking the tax down to zero. But now that the suppressors aren't kind of stealing the limelight in Congress on 2A issues, I would really love to see some of our pro-2A legislators, including Richard Hudson from North Carolina, who is a primary author of H.R. 38, focus on constitutional concealed carry reciprocity. But for right now, Frank, unfortunately, you're not in good shape in terms of carrying to some of those states in New England that not only don't recognize the Indiana license to carry and don't have constitutional carry, but don't recognize any other state's licenses, which is true of a lot of those states. If you can get up to Vermont, of course, you have to, unfortunately, drive through some Constitution-hating states to get there. Vermont's had constitutional carry since there's been a Vermont. They've always had constitutional carry. They've never had a license or a permit requirement. But unfortunately, it's not an easy state to get to without going through some states that particularly despise your Second Amendment rights. Let's go back to the phone lines, and Kirk is called. Kirk, welcome to the Gun Guy Show.
Hey, thanks, Guy. I just tripped on the carpet, and I blame constitutional carry.
Oh, this is my buddy Kirk Freeman. I didn't realize that was you.
How's things down there? Everything's great in Lafayette.
Well, yeah. I mean, we got some rambunctious teenagers running around shooting the place up in downtown Indy.
So I hear.
Beyond that, we're holding our own. But what you got there, Kirk?
Guy, just wanted to call and thank you for spurring me. I'm like a 9-year-old going to bed and getting my 5-year license so I can skip the NICS check.
That's awesome. Have you used it yet? Have you found an FFL?
There we go. There's the issue I'm calling about. So the kids have all gotten into sporting clays, and I want to go buy them shotguns.
Yeah.
They're all using Walmart slide actions. I want to get them proper side-by-sides or over and unders.
Yeah.
And I found a great deal on a side-by-side at a store here. I plopped down my 5-year license, and they look at me like one of the apes from 2001.
Yeah.
So I'm not one of those guys that carries his phone around, so I couldn't send him the link. Who do I need to contact? I don't have a hearing until 11 o'clock on Monday morning. So who do I need to get a hold of, ISP or ATF, so they can contact the dealers?
That's a good question. For things like that at ISP, I've always gone through Sergeant John Perrine, who's the public information officer, and I've actually texted him about the need to change the Indiana State Police website, which was just flat wrong for a couple of weeks after ATF changed its policy. ISP's website, and it was not ISP's fault, by the way, Kirk. It was they got no contact. Yeah, there was no coordination from ATF. Hell, the ATF internally, the people who made the decision to expand the NICS exempt list to include Indiana, didn't even talk to their industry operations people. So the people who interact directly with licensed dealers didn't themselves get a heads up. So they're getting calls from their dealers going, "Hey, what's the story here?" And their own IOIs, their own industry operation investigators, didn't have an answer for them because their buddies at the ATF didn't clue them in. So state police didn't get a heads up. In fact, when I contacted my contacts down there, I said, "Do you know anything about this?" And they're like, "Not a word." After that new NICS exempt list came out. But anyway,
not even Pete.
No, and and Pete is back. We're talking about Pete Wood, who is now Captain Pete Wood, by the way, not lieutenant anymore. But he was gone for a while because he got promoted. He's back now, and he's not directly over the firearms licensing division because my understanding is he's a chief legal officer at Indiana State Police. So he's a couple levels above where he used to be, so he appropriately got promoted. But Pete's still involved because he's so good on all the firearms-related issues. And no, those folks down there didn't have any heads up at all.
Is Pete at Plainfield, or is he at downtown?
I believe he's downtown, yeah. And so, but there was no heads up to state police. But they ultimately, because I was talking to texting the public information officer about the need to change their website, and that ultimately got changed. I have no idea whether I helped prompt that at all. But yeah, I'd go through the public information officer. ATF, you know what? I will offline, Kirk, email you the industry operations, the head of industry operations, as I understand it, on this issue. I'll email you that contact at ATF because he said if you have people that are confused or people that need information directly from ATF, let me know and I'll coordinate with them. I can email you that contact separately.
The tax guy at Maryville or downtown Indy?
No, it's going to be guys in Washington.
Great. Okay.
But I'll send that to you separately. And thanks to my buddy Kirk Freeman, great lawyer. You need a Second Amendment, pro Second Amendment lawyer in Lafayette. in particular there in Tippecanoe County. Look up my buddy Kirk Freeman. He does a nice job, and his heart's in the right place on Second Amendment issues, certainly, and a damn fine lawyer. And with that, we're past the 3/4 hour. We'll come back for a bit of a short segment and wrap up hour number 1 here of the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Another update is just minutes away.
Bruising on President Trump's hand, swelling around his ankles.
Chronic venous insufficiency, benign and common condition.
Hear the news.
Next year, the network will be ending The Late Show.
As events happen,
severe weather chances tomorrow afternoon.
We'll happen to be there.
Organized linear complex of storms. Caitlin Clark will miss the WNBA All-Star Weekend.
On the level, on the go.
Lexi Hall will replace
93 WIBC Mobile News.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Guy Relford for Tactical Firearms Training. Our next Essentials of Indiana Gun Law class is coming up at Parabellum Firearms and Indoor Range located in Avon. It's going to be on October 18th. And I'll tell you what, these always sell out, especially out there in Avon. So you want to get your seat if you're interested in going for 5 hours, the most important legal information you need as an Indiana gun owner. Saturday, October 18th, it's $50 for an individual, $95 for couples. A lot of people out there own guns, certainly, and even carry guns every day who don't really understand the law with respect to when that gun can come out of the holster, when that gun can be pointed at someone legally, when the trigger can be pulled in a lawful and justified act of self-defense or defense of others. Those are things you got to know if you carry a gun every day, and that's exactly what we teach, and a heck of a lot more. 4 hours, 4.5 to 5 hours of the most important, the essentials. That's the reason we call it exactly that, the essentials of Indiana gun law that you need to know if you own a gun in Indiana. Sign up right online. It's tactical-firearms.com. Just click on upcoming courses at tactical-firearms.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9379. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9379. That's 800-575-9379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
It's now open. PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse in Brownsburg, right in front of Premier Arms on Green Street. You got to see the selection. Newly expanded, the gold, the diamonds, the silver, the gemstones, the local artists, and of course, that watch collection. Guys, you got to trust me on this one right here. PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse in Brownsburg, 317-456-4010. That's 456-4010. Or find them online at pajewelers.jewelry. That's pajewelers.jewelry.
You hear that? That's Mike sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. That's because Mike was smart this time. He took ZzzQuil Ultra to fall asleep fast, stay asleep longer, and get the deeply restorative sleep he needs. So now he wakes up refreshed and ready to conquer Mondays.
Let's do this Monday.
ZzzQuil Ultra. Not for colds, just for sleep. Really great sleep. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
History returns with the Brickyard 400 at the famed 2.5-mile oval, celebrating NASCAR's roots at the racing capital of the world. Brickyard weekend starts Thursday, July 24th with the Indiana Sprint Week race, with sprint cars running on the IMS dirt track for the first time ever. Saturday, July 26th, get ready for action with the NASCAR Xfinity Series Pennzoil 250. Then Sunday, July 27th, the NASCAR Cup Series Brickyard 400, presented by PPG, returns to the oval of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Buy now and save at IMS.com.
Politics, punchlines, and pure WIBC. The Mashup Podcast pulls the day's best moments from Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, Hammer and Nigel, and drops them in one place. New episodes each weekday. Search WIBC Mashup wherever you get your podcasts. Your rights, your responsibilities, your guns. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. I'll tell you what, we've got a very short segment here, but let's go to the phone lines. Ian has called. Ian, welcome to The Gun Guy Show.
Good afternoon, sir. Got a real quick one for you.
Okay.
I wouldn't expect you to endorse a publication or product, but there's a guide published each year in Covington, Kentucky called the Traveler's Guide, which has got very detailed information about carry in every state. And for instance, in Virginia, you can carry in rest areas, but you can't carry it into the buildings or the bathrooms. Just oddities like that. I get it every year. I've given away a few dozen of them.
Yeah, no. And what's it called again, Ian?
It is called the Traveler's Guide. It is.
Okay. You find it like on Amazon
in
or
Kentucky. Well, they advertise it in NRA magazine.
Okay. Well, Ian, thanks for that. I'll tell you what, staying up on the laws of each individual state is so important. And I've talked about that here on the show before, where people think, well, okay, I know my license is recognized in 32 other states. I know now that there are 29 states that have constitutional carry that also allow non-residents to carry without a license in their state. So they know where they can take their handgun. And a lot of folks, unfortunately, think that's where the inquiry ends. That, well, I know I'm good to go to carry my gun to Kentucky or Tennessee or wherever it might be. Well, yes, that's true, except do you know all the ins and outs of the laws in those states about where you can and can't carry, about what's lawful, what's not, about what your duty to disclose might be to police officers if you're to get pulled over for speeding going through that state? And can you carry into a place that serves alcohol? Can you carry into a bar? Can you carry into a sports stadium or a movie theater? Those things can absolutely change and do change state to state to state. So just knowing where you can carry. Now, I'll talk a little bit more about this because I'm running out of time in this segment. But there are ways. The Traveler's Guide sounds like a good resource, but there are other ways as well, which I'll go into at the top of the hour. Right now, we're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cybersecurity must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business. Powering possibilities.
Now through July 21st, new customers can get started with 300 megabit internet and Security Edge for $69 a month for 24 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, find out how to get a $500 prepaid card for your business. Call and switch to Comcast Business today. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
Everybody knows Hubler's got the best warranty around. 10 years, 200,000 miles. But did you know? Now you can get that same limited powertrain warranty on new Toyotas. Introducing the all-new Hubler Toyota. Get grand opening savings all month long. And right now, lease a new 2025 RAV4, just $349 per month. Or a new Tacoma, $299 per month. Plus, choose from Camrys, Corollas, Highlanders, Tundras, and more.
Hubler's got you covered.
At the all-new Hubler Toyota on US 31 South in Indianapolis. Visit HublerToyota.com. Grand opening savings and the best warranty around. 10 years, 200,000 miles.
Cover me!
Select models, approved credit, plus tax tag title license 199 dealer doc. RAV4 model 4432, Tacoma model 7540, 36 months, $29.99 due, 0 security, 10,000 annual miles, 15 cents per mile thereafter. Expires 7/31.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock, because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Fill your tank. Don't drain your wallet. Sam's Club lets you save time at the pump with Scan and Go checkout at Sam's Club fuel stations. Just scan the QR code on the pump and pay. Visit your local Sam's Club today.
You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Broadcasting from the Technology Recycler Studios, this is Indy's Mobile News, 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. The news starts now.
Crowd this morning in East Hollywood, California. Fox's Christina Coleman says at least 30 people were hurt.
It was definitely a chaotic scene after a driver rammed his vehicle into a crowd outside of a reggaeton nightclub here in East Hollywood. Police initially got a call regarding shots fired and a man removed from a nearby business around 2 a.m. Well, as it turns out, police say the person who was shot was the same person who plowed their vehicle into the crowd. They say an altercation broke out between the driver and some folks in the crowd that he plowed into, and someone allegedly shot the driver. Investigators are trying to figure out if the driver intentionally rammed into the crowd. Again, a lot of people were out here. It's a very busy area for nightlife.
Police say bystanders attacked the driver, who was later found with a gunshot wound. They are looking for the suspected shooter. The FBI is now taking part in the investigation into a deadly explosion at a police training facility in Los Angeles. It happened yesterday at an LA County Sheriff's Department building in East LA. 3 deputies with the arson explosive detail team were killed. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard is declassifying documents she says prove the Obama administration tried to subvert President Trump's 2016 win. And now she wants Mr. Obama prosecuted.
It was essentially a years-long coup that was launched against President Trump before he even had the opportunity to take his oath of office and be sworn in as President of the United States.
Democrat Mark Warner issued a statement saying that the Senate Intel Committee reviewed hundreds of thousands of documents and that their bipartisan conclusion was that Russia interfered in 2016 to help President Trump. An overnight Russian drone and missile attack on Ukraine left at least 1 dead. America's listening to Fox News.
Every weekday, it's your go-to source for staying informed and entertained. The Fox News Primetime Highlights Podcast, offering a curated selection of the most impactful moments of the Ingram Angle, Jesse Waters Primetime, Hannity, and Gutfeld. Listen and follow now so you never miss a moment of the action-packed highlights from these must-watch Fox News Channel shows. Go to foxnewspodcasts.com or wherever you listen to podcasts. America's listening to Fox News. Fox News Audio presents Unsolved with James Patterson. Every crime tells a story, but some stories are left unfinished.
The thing that I'm so afraid of is I don't know how much evidence is left to even point the finger at the true person.
Best-selling mystery author James Patterson takes listeners into the core of some of America's most haunting mysteries. Real cases, real people. The Unsolved with James Patterson podcast. Listen and follow now at foxtruecrime.com.
President Trump celebrating what he calls a very successful first few months in office at a dinner with Republican senators.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A weekend covered with rain. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending this hour. Meteorologist Joe Neild at the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says showers and storms from Saturday are likely to linger on into Sunday.
There will be a threat for some isolated severe storms on Sunday as well, basically from central Indiana southward. And again, the primary threats with that would be damaging winds and heavy rain to localized flooding.
The worst areas for possible flooding are ones that have already seen rain recently. Temperatures are expected to be in the mid-80s again for Sunday. IMPD says a woman died early Saturday morning from a gunshot wound. Officers responded to a liquor store on the northwest side of Indianapolis. The victim was transported to an area hospital in critical condition, but unfortunately died there. No arrests have been made and no other details have been released at this time as officers continue their investigation. The man convicted in the 2017 Delphi murders case is being moved to a facility in Oklahoma. It's unknown why Richard Allen was transferred from the Pendleton Correctional Facility to the Lexington Assessment and Reception Center, but he was received in Cleveland County on Thursday. Allen is currently serving a 130-year prison term. And a police officer in Indianapolis was arrested recently. Investigators say Nicholas Colley, an officer with the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department for 9 years, has been charged with harassment and misconduct because he repeatedly kept contacting his ex-wife even after he was told not to on several occasions. IMPD Chief Chris Bailey says Colley has been put on administrative leave. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the Level, on the Go, and on WIBC.com.
Tonight, lingering showers and storms as the severe threat goes down. Low temperatures in the lower 70s. And for Sunday, scattered showers and storms become more likely as the day goes on. Highs in the mid-80s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
From marshmallow festivals to fireworks on the shore. No matter where you're headed this summer, Hubler's got you covered for 100,000 miles. During Hubler's Freedom to Drive, shop any of our 13 locations. And choose from Chevys, Fords, Toyotas, GMCs, Buicks, Nissans, Acuras, Mazdas, Hondas, and more. Over 2,000 vehicles. All makes, all models, certified vehicles, luxury vehicles, even the hard-to-find ones. Plus, every Hubler Q-certified vehicle is covered by a 128-point vehicle inspection and a free Carfax history report.
'Cause Hubler's got you covered.
No matter where you're headed this summer, Hubler's got you covered for 100,000 miles during our Freedom to Drive. Visit drivehubler.com or any of our 13 locations.
Cover me!
Warranty on select models less than 9 years old.
Stay near home with Home Court Advantage for your heart. Rated #1 in Indiana 2 years in a row by Health Grades. Franciscan Health offers top-rated cardiac care because every heartbeat is extraordinary. Learn more at franciscanhealth.org/heartcare.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is the Second Amendment, and this is the Gun Guy.
Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, bang, bang.
With Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back to hour number 2 of the Gun Guy Show here on 93 WIBC. Thrilled you're still with us. Give us a call. Join the discussion. 317-239-9393. It's 317-239-9393. We've had great callers so far. Always enjoy hearing from our listeners. So give us a call and join the discussion. I want to get back to something that Ian brought up. He was advocating a particular guide, the Traveler's Guide for traveling with a gun. I don't know about that one. I can't comment positively or otherwise about it. But I'm a big fan of some of the electronic resources that we have available to us on that point. And I would have said this before the break, but we just ran out of time in that segment. But for instance, I have an app on my phone, and I have no connection to these folks. They don't pay me any money or anything like that. But I have on my phone an app just called CCW, and if you look it up, it's got a picture of a gun over a map of the United States, and I've had it on my phone for some time. I'm a big fan of it. It appears to be run by a bunch of lawyers, and every single time I open it up on my phone, it says updating. And so I know they update it all the time, as you would guess they must, for it to be worthwhile because of the changes in the laws that happen all the time. But it'll ask you if you just want to search current state. So, you can enable it to detect your location through your phone. And if you want to, and say yes, or you can search whatever individual state you want to search. And it gives a great state law summary, as well as all the rules on reciprocity, that is, where you can carry with an Indiana license, and or where and what states have constitutional carry, meaning permitless carry, where you don't have to have a license, and whether they grant that is the ability to carry without a license to non-residents or not. I will tell you that of the now 30 or 29 states, it should be 30 soon. Hopefully North Carolina joins the group and becomes the 30th state to adopt constitutional carry. That would be cool. Have a full 60% of all U.S. states have permitless carry. That would be awesome. But of the 29 that currently have it, they all allow non-residents to carry under constitutional carry as well. North Dakota was the outlier, and when they first passed constitutional carry, it was only for North Dakota residents, but they since fixed that. And a couple of years after they passed the original constitutional carry law, they went in and amended it to allow for non-residents to carry under that as well. And that's an important point. But just knowing the state has constitutional carry isn't even necessarily an answer to all your questions, because some states have constitutional carry, but only if you're 21, where Indiana and a few others allow you to carry at 18. And that's not necessarily true of every state that has constitutional carry. Some states that recognize the Indiana license, where, yes, you can carry there with your Indiana license, it's only if you're 21. And having a license from Indiana at 18, so you could be 18, 19, or 20, well, that's great. So you figure, okay, now I know X state. I believe, I haven't checked this recently, but last time I looked, Florida was one that says, yes, we recognize the Indiana license if you're 21. Well, so, you're going on spring break, you're a 20-year-old college student getting ready to graduate college, you decide you want to take your handgun with you, and you know that Florida recognizes the Indiana license. Well, oops, you're breaking the law because you're not 21, and they only recognize our license if you're that. So those kinds of individual state law idiosyncrasies is exactly what you have to check into before you just decide, okay, yeah, awesome, I'm going to travel to that state. So the app, CCW, is one I have on my phone. I also like to search the U.S. Concealed Carry Association's reciprocity page. I've been a customer of U.S. Concealed Carry for a long time. I bought their insurance starting in 2012. I still have it. It's a question I get all the time, whether I recommend a certain one of those. By the way, full disclosure, for a couple of years, they paid me a little bit of money to teach what they call their self-defense legal seminars. It wasn't much money, but they did pay me some. A couple of years, I haven't done that. They haven't paid me any money at all. I pay them every month for my insurance. But they did pay me a little bit there for a little while, so take that into consideration when you hear me talk about their insurance. But when I did a deep drill before I bought it, U.S. Concealed Carry was I thought the best plan. They catch a lot of heat, and they're clearly the victim of a smear campaign out on the internet. And some rival groups that would love to take your business or take business generally away from U.S. Concealed Carry on the insurance side of things. And there's one group called Lawyers on Retainer. And I've just seen their videos on Twitter posted and on YouTube. And they clearly are taking a lot of shots at USCCA, saying basically USCCA would never honors their insurance. They'll find a loophole. Their policies are even written in a way to never insure anybody. I know of personal experience that's not true, because I've represented multiple clients that had USCCA insurance, but nonetheless got sued or got prosecuted for an act that they believed was self-defense, and there was a good faith argument to say it was self-defense, and USCCA paid all the bills. And in fact, I just set a status report on one of those to the USCCA insurance people just yesterday. So I've not seen them in any way go out of their way to deny coverage or try to collect money from people and then not honor their insurance. I just haven't seen that. And I think the smear campaign launched out there on social media is just that. But USCCA, to get back to the original point, has a great reciprocity page that also has state law summaries on it that, in my mind, also that they keep up to date rather nicely. I found one thing where they had something wrong on a state. I don't remember which state it was now, but they had a state listed as not accepting or recognizing the Indiana license, and that had changed fairly recently. So I contacted USCCA, and they were great. They were like, "Hey, thanks so much for the information. We'll verify that. We'll double check it, and we'll update the website immediately," which they did in about 48 hours. So in my mind, that's another resource. But Ian's exactly right. You need to know those things before you travel. And just knowing, as I said before the break, knowing a particular state has constitutional carry or knowing that they recognize the Indiana license is a very, very small part of what you need to know before you travel to that state. I should do pretty much a whole show sometime on traveling with a firearm because I can talk about the TSA regulations on checking a gun, something I've done many, many times, on checking a gun at the airport, and there are some tricks to the trade on doing that in terms of how to make that go as smoothly as possible. A lot of people, I think, are intimidated into leaving their guns at home, specifically because they're worried about getting shackled in handcuffs or something at the airport if they try to declare their gun at the airport. And I get that if you haven't done that before, but it's something that's easily addressed. Something, again, I've done many, many times. So if you have any questions about that, you can certainly call in and raise that. But I'll schedule a show when I can be prepared, maybe even have somebody from TSA on as a guest, and we'll talk about that process. Right now, we're at the quarter hour. We're going to take a break. We come back. I'm going to shift gears a little bit and talk about a different issue here on The Gun Guy Show. Join the discussion, 317-239-9393. That's 317-239-9393. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
It's hot out there.
The weather's hot.
It's really hot.
But the headlines, they're even hotter.
Massive precision strikes.
This was about being clandestine and the nuclear capability of Iran.
The news of the day is heating up.
Things have gotten super hot out there.
Iran is run by homicidal maniac crazy people.
Stay cool.
Angry at the basketball gods.
Stay informed.
This isn't the way that it was supposed to go down.
Stay with 93 WIBC.
Guy Relford for Tactical Firearms Training. Our next Essentials of Indiana Gun Law class is coming up on October 18th out at Parabellum Firearms and Indoor Range. We'd love to see you there. It's $50 for an individual, $95 for couples. This is 4.5 to 5 hours of the most important legal information you need as an Indiana gun owner, including a detailed discussion of the justified use of force, including deadly force in self-defense. All of the prohibited areas where guns are not allowed under both state and federal law, a whole bunch of ways you could potentially lose your gun rights. And a lot of these people don't know and understand. A lot of people think, well, as long as I don't get a conviction for a felony, I'm good to go. Oh, no, it's a lot longer list than that. And a lot of times people are caught by surprise when they've lost their gun rights. So it's good to know those things on the front end, as well as where you can and can't carry, when you could use your gun or even pull it out of the holster. There's a lot of legal issues associated. There are a lot of legal issues associated with each of those things, and that's exactly what we go into. Plus, field all your questions there for 4.5 to 5 hours. Check it out at tactical-firearms.com. Just click on upcoming courses at tactical-firearms.com.
Basketball fans of the W, convention goers and visitors of all kinds, welcome to Indianapolis, a great event-hosting city thanks to Hoosier hospitality and terrific infrastructure like state-of-the-art stadiums, meeting spaces, and hotels, plus a world-class airport and interstates that make it easy to get around. But these buildings and roads don't just happen. They're built by men and women living here in central Indiana. Union members of Labor's Local 120 maintain and build in these roads, bridges, and highways. They're the ones you pass as you drive by the orange barrels. It's hard work, dangerous work. Yet there they are, working to make sure you have a smoother, safer ride to your event. And just like you, they'd like to get home safe too. So let's be mindful of the local workers who make the roads safe for all of us.
This is Chris Bricky, business manager of Labor's Local 120. Everyone deserves a safe place to work. Do your part in the Cone Zone. Slow down, save lives. We're all in this together.
Change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, change is all around us. Songs are rewritten. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists come and go. Even our taste in music changes. Here at Xfinity, we know there's still good in keeping some things the same. That's why we want to do our part with a 5-year price guarantee on our internet. It means no matter what changes, you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Surprised? Life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on OpenSignal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.
Are you ready to build your custom dream home? Joyner Homes is ready to make your dream come true. Over 18 years, Joyner Homes, based out of Greenfield, have built hundreds of homes in central Indiana, and the best place to start is JoynerHomes.com. That's where you'll find pricing, photos of completed Joyner homes to inspire you, available home sites, and info on where you can visit their model homes, and a lot more. Be sure to check out Joyner Homes' 5-star Google reviews. Get started today at JoynerHomes.com.
Join Mark Patrick Seminars and lose the weight guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis to destroy unwanted cravings. Also, stop smoking with Mark Patrick. Destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Seminars July 31st at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. And Saturday, August 2nd at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use, now what?
I had a friend that went to My Computer Career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
There are 48 million unpaid family caregivers in the United States. Visit aarp.org/caregiving to access a free guide to help navigate your caregiving journey.
No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures. Learn more at helpnokidhungry.org.
Now you've got a gun guy. Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. Let's go right back to the phone lines, and I believe it's Janet has called in with a question. Janet, what can I do for you?
Jarrett?
Oh, Jarrett, I'm so sorry, brother. Producer Jack typed it exactly correctly, and I just couldn't read, so that's my fault. Sorry, Jarrett. I was mispronouncing your name completely. I even assigned a different gender to you, so I'm sorry about that.
No offense taken, man. I'm glad the rain and storms held off long enough for you to get that umbrella put up. You didn't even have to do it to begin with. So.
There you go. Exactly right. Well, you had a question, I think.
Yeah, I know you do a lot of talk about the Castle Doctrine for your home and how to protect yourself, and you also say that it extends to your vehicle. Is that something on both of them? I guess it's something I've really thought about. Is that something that's somebody that's trying to gain entry into your home or your vehicle? Do they have to be armed, or can they just be forcing themselves into your residence or your vehicle?
It's a great question, Jarrett, and I'm glad you called with that. No, that's what separates the Castle Doctrine in all its elements from the general self-defense statute that applies really no matter where you are. The Castle Doctrine that applies to your dwelling, your curtilage, which I've talked a little bit about, in fact, talked quite a bit about it lately. Won't go into that right now, but it also extends to your occupied motor vehicle. It has to be your car, and it has to be occupied. And by the way, your dwelling is just your dwelling. It doesn't apply to somebody else's house. Doesn't apply to your neighbor's house. It's your dwelling. But what separates the Castle Doctrine from the general self-defense provisions of the Indiana law is that you don't have to fear injury. You don't have to fear getting hurt. You don't have to fear death or serious bodily injury, which is what does apply elsewhere. You have to be preventing or having a reasonable belief that you're preventing serious bodily injury or the commission of what's called a forcible felony when you're outside your home or outside your occupied motor vehicle. That's not true in the Castle Doctrine. The Castle Doctrine says you simply have to reasonably believe that force, including deadly force, that force is necessary to prevent or terminate an unlawful entry of or attack on your dwelling, curtilage, or occupied motor vehicle. So you have to have a reasonable belief you're preventing or terminating an unlawful entry into or attack on, in this case, your occupied motor vehicle. So when is or let's talk about dwelling as well, when is entry into your home unlawful? Well, in Indiana, we don't have a statute called breaking and entering. And we have a statute that defines a crime called residential entry. And that's different from what some states call breaking and entering, because you don't have to break anything to unlawfully enter in Indiana. If you enter someone's home and you're not authorized, you're not permitted or invited to enter someone else's home, that the entry into that home is unlawful. And in Indiana, the Castle Doctrine applies to either prevent or terminate that unlawful entry. Now, when is entry into someone's home not unlawful? When is entry into your home not unlawful? Well, when the person's invited to come into your home, when their name's on the lease, when you've established a pattern of allowing them to come and go as they please. And there are other perhaps situations where entry into your home is not unlawful. Primary one is they have a legal right to be there because their name's on a lease, or again, you've established that pattern. You're giving them a key, or you've simply invited them in. And by the way, there's no real law in Indiana that talks about how old someone has to be who lives in the home, how old they have to be in order to lawfully invite someone into the home or allow them to come in the home in a way that makes their entry lawful. So, for instance, if your 8-year-old answers the door and a person's there and says, hey, can I come in? I need to talk to your mom and dad. And your 8-year-old says, sure. Then, there's no legal authority that I've seen that says, no, an 8-year-old does not have the legal capacity or authority to invite someone into the home. So it's a real good reason to limit who answers the door in your home, or to have a very sincere talk with your kids about whether they can ever invite someone into the home without your permission. And but if someone's an invitee, they're legally in the home. Again, if they have a legal right to be there for some reason. But if I'm in my car, to answer Jarrett's question, and I'm so sorry for screwing up your name, and someone comes in and breaks the window and reaches for the door lock, it's an unlawful entry into and attack on my motor vehicle, my occupied motor vehicle. And the Indiana statute, you want to look it up, it's 35-41-3-2, and we're talking about the Castle Doctrine, which is subsection D. And you want to look that up, and it'll say there, right there, that yes, you're justified in using reasonable force, including deadly force, to prevent or terminate an unlawful entry into or attack on your dwelling, curtilage, or occupied motor vehicle. So that entry into or attack on is just what it sounds like. Now, does that apply to, if somebody just walks by and slaps the hood of my car? Is that an attack on my occupied motor vehicle if I'm sitting in it? I think most prosecutors would say no. That there's some element of violence to it, I think, as far as attack. But if someone comes in and starts yanking on the door handle trying to get in my car, can I prevent their unlawful entry into my car? Yes, I can. And the self-defense statute says just exactly that. Let's go back to the phone lines. And I believe, if I don't screw this name up too, Matthew has called. Matthew, welcome to the Gun Guy Show.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, you bet.
I just was calling to find out what the difference between the CCW and the constitutional carry that Indiana now has. So I have a lifetime license, from years ago, but I also wanted to clarify what the difference might be because I'm not 100%.
Sure. No, I'm happy to explain that. And you correctly called it a lifetime license. What we have in Indiana is a license to carry a handgun. Now that comes in two forms. It's either a lifetime license or a 5-year license. And I have both for reasons I've talked about, because I just recently got the 5-year license, which now, according to ATF's recent determination that in Indiana this is now legal, a license to carry issued within the last 5 years can substitute for a NICS check, a background check, when you go in to buy a gun at a licensed dealer, if the dealer chooses to do so, as I was talking about with my friend Kirk a little earlier in the show. So we don't have a quote-unquote CCW. CCW stands for Concealed Carry Weapon License, typically, and we don't have to conceal with our license or with constitutional carry. So I always try to politely correct people on that point. But what's the difference? Well, when we had a license requirement, that is before we passed constitutional carry, then it was just that. You had to have a license in order to carry a handgun, most places outside your home. And not everywhere, and there were other exceptions I won't go into, but generally speaking, to carry a handgun in public, you had to have a license. Constitutional carry, which we passed in 2022, says, no, if you're at least 18 years old and you're not prohibited from possessing a gun under state and federal law, you can carry under constitutional carry. So as Matthew, as somebody with a license, constitutional carry is kind of irrelevant to you because you can already carry with your lifetime license. You don't have to necessarily worry about having it with you. Although before constitutional carry, a lot of people didn't understand this. A lot of police officers didn't understand this. The law was actually changed to where you had to have your license in your possession. They changed it. They changed the language to you simply had to be licensed. So and police officers can actually verify when they run your driver's license whether you have a license to carry or not. But with constitutional carry, you don't have to have a license. So if you're talking to friends or family who are thinking about traveling to Indiana and they don't have a license but they want to carry here, you can tell them, well, if you're at least 18 and you're not legally prohibited, that is with a felony conviction or a domestic violence order of protection or a misdemeanor crime of domestic violence, you haven't been dishonorably charged from the military. It's a long list. That's the reason we spend a good 45 minutes or so talking about what's exactly on that list in my Essentials of Indiana gun law class. But if they're not legally prohibited from possessing a gun wherever it is they live under both state and federal law, including the law of Indiana, and they're at least 18, they can carry in Indiana under constitutional carry. So that's really the difference. Constitutional carry is just permitless carry, meaning you can carry without having the requirement of a license. I'll tell you what, we're at the bottom of the hour. I've had great callers so far. I've enjoyed answering your questions and taking your comments. Give us a call. Join the discussion. 317-239-9393. 317-239-9393. Next, when we come back, I'm going to talk about a 3-year anniversary we just had. And listen, it's a very solemn event, very sad event, tragic event in some respects, but it's also a very inspiring event. And we're going to push for some recognition for the hero involved here when we come back. I'll post it about this on my social media on both Facebook and Twitter, or X as we now call it. But I'm going to talk about it here on the show, talk about what we're doing on that and how you can potentially help. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
It's another week of this.
There's a very good chance that we'll have a settlement.
And another day for this.
Water rose 28 foot in 45 minutes.
Plus, another possibility of this.
Monitor the weather condition, the National Weather Service.
That's why another update is just minutes away.
Start saying we're not taking this anymore.
Just another day. Not with all this happening every day.
Happening now.
93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9379. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9379. That's 800-575-9379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
You hear that? That's Mike sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. That's because Mike was smart this time. He took ZzzQuil Ultra to fall asleep fast, stay asleep longer, and get the deeply restorative sleep he needs. So now he wakes up refreshed and ready to conquer Mondays.
Let's do this Monday.
ZzzQuil Ultra. Not for colds, just for sleep. Really great sleep. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Bill Estes Ford is your neighborhood truck dealer. And right now, during the Ford Summer Sales Event, we've got an amazing deal you won't want to miss. 0% APR, 0 down payment, and 0 payments for 90 days. That's 3 big zeros, which adds up to 0 excuses not to drive home in a new Ford today. Every day is truck day. Go anywhere, do anything in a new F-150, starting at just $46,295. Bill Estes Ford. Online at BillEstesFord.com.
Stock BFP 250444. Always see dealer for details.
Fox News, I'm Roger Stern. A driver plowed into people waiting in line outside a nightclub in East Hollywood. 30 people hurt, some critically. The crowd then attacked the driver, and one man was shot. As for what started it,
investigators are trying to figure out if the driver intentionally rammed into the crowd. It is a very busy area, a lot of people out there at night.
Fox's Christina Coleman, the gunman, took off and is at large. President Trump predicting good news out of Gaza.
While hosting Republican senators here at the White House, President Trump is hoping for some more victories overseas and says some of the remaining hostages in Gaza could be released very soon.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson, the president, spoke while celebrating recent wins in Congress. America is listening to Fox News.
Home sales are good, just not great. So many homes have been properly marketed or just sitting on the market. Hiring the wrong sales agent will cost you time and money. Hire the expert who maximizes equity and sells fast. That's Mark Dietel. Maybe you want a fast, guaranteed home sale, but you don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. Mark Dietel is the only real estate expert trusted and recommended with the sale of your home. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Just pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. Luke and Emma in Franklin said, "We found the perfect piece of land and began building our new dream home, but we needed to sell our old place at the right price to fund the dream. We hired the Mark Dietel team and got multiple offers in the first weekend, closed in 25 days, and they negotiated for us to stay while we completed our new place. Selling was stress-free and profitable with Mark Dietel. Call the local Indianapolis agent, trusted and recommended, the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel, 317-755-4232. Get all the details or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark Dietel, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdietel.com.
History returns with the Brickyard 400 at the famed 2.5-mile oval, celebrating NASCAR's roots at the racing capital of the world. Brickyard weekend starts Thursday, July 24th with the Indiana Sprint Week race, with sprint cars running on the IMS dirt track for the first time ever. Saturday, July 26th, get ready for action with the NASCAR Xfinity Series Pennzoil 250. Then Sunday, July 27th, the NASCAR Cup Series Brickyard 400, presented by PPG, returns to the oval of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Buy now and save at IMS.com.
Our show, Expedition Retirement, now has a new name. Join us for Fire Your Financial Advisor, Sunday mornings at 7 on WIBC.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone. Done. By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
The Indianapolis Public Library. More than just books. Visit your local branch today.
second to none on the Second Amendment. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back to the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. I'm Guy Relford. And as I posted on social media on Thursday was the 3-year anniversary of a very significant event here in central Indiana, and as it turned out, really all across the world. And that was the anniversary of the attempted mass shooting in the Greenwood Park Mall on July 17th, 2022. And as that started, I never mentioned the names of mass shooters and any notoriety they were after in committing their crimes. I'm not going to contribute to here on my show. But the person involved went to the Greenwood Park Mall, went to a restroom, which was down a hallway located right off the food court there in the Greenwood Park Mall, was in the bathroom for some time, over an hour. Had taken a couple of rifles and a couple of pistols, and had a backpack, I believe had his cell phone with him, which ultimately I believe he threw in the toilet, and eventually emerged from the bathroom into the hallway that led to the food court. There was a gentleman just entering the bathroom who, by the way, was himself armed, but he just looked up and the door opened and there's a man with a gun pointed at him, and the mass shooter fired right away. The gentleman had no opportunity to even reach for his gun. He was shot and killed. Then the shooter entered the food court and shot a couple who was sitting at a table there closest to the hallway that led to the restrooms, killed both of them. Then he fired a couple of more random shots that missed, although one shot apparently ricocheted off a wall and hit a young lady in the leg. And at this point, Elijah Dickin, known as Eli, and by the way, everybody screws up the spelling of his name. It's not the traditional spelling of Elijah. It's Elisjsha. I always think of it as Ellis J. Shaw, which is how you're tempted to pronounce it. But it's Elijah, and kind of a cool spelling. But Eli was sitting just over 40 yards away from where the bad guy is shooting, just outside the hallway to the restrooms. And Eli had the presence of mind to decipher what was going on, understand the nature of the threat, draw his own legally carried handgun, a Glock 19, which he had a loaded magazine of Blazer Brass, which is actually defense ammo, Full Metal Jacket, which is not a round I would recommend for self-defense, but hey, you don't argue with what works. And only 15 seconds, this is really one of the many miraculous things about that shooting. Just 15 seconds after it began, Eli took his first shot from 43 yards away. I know I lasered it. For his first 4 shots were braced on top of a tall mall trash can, with some amount of cover being provided by a column that went up to support the ceiling. And of those first 4 shots from 43 yards away, Eli made 2 hits. And if you've shot a handgun at distances of 40 yards and up, you know that's not an easy shot. It's particularly not an easy shot when people are screaming, people are running across your sight picture as you're trying to aim, and obviously your adrenaline is up, anxiety, whatever emotion is going through your mind and your heart are having their own effects. But he made 2 hits out of 4 shots from 43 yards away. The bad guy then had immediately stopped shooting. The bad guy did not shoot his gun again after Eli started shooting, 15 seconds after the bad guy started shooting. So that the duration of the mass shooting, quote unquote, by the bad guy was all of 15 seconds. And that is such a critically important part of this story. It's an incredibly important part of this story. To me, the leading authority on mass shootings anywhere in the world is someone named Ed Monk, and I've taken his long, detailed seminar on mass shootings. And he says, listen, and again, he studied every mass shooting in the history of the United States, with a particular focus on school shooting, but he's not limited to school shootings at all. He studies them all. And he wanted, and I met with him. I had lunch with him before his seminar when he was here in Indianapolis here a couple of years ago, and he was addressing the National Association of School Resource Officers. And it was the most informative couple hours I've ever spent on the issue of mass shootings. It was incredible. But Ed Monk will tell you, and he makes this point repeatedly in his seminar and his training courses. He says mass shootings, the number of fatalities that will be incurred in a mass shooting is about just two things. It's time and math. And he can tell you, based on every mass shooting that's ever occurred in this country, the kind of fatalities you can expect depending on how long the bad guy has to continue shooting. And typically that's as long as it takes for an armed response to arrive, which is why he's such an advocate for law-abiding citizens carrying their own lawfully possessed firearms, because they're there, they're present, as, thank God, Eli Dicken was in the mall on July 17, 2022. And the 15 seconds that shooting lasted is exactly why there were only 3 fatalities. The guy had an AR-15, the bad guy had an AR-15 with a fully loaded 30-round mag in it and 3 more 30-round mags in a chest rig. He had on over his T-shirt. So how long could he have continued shooting if Eli didn't engage him? We don't know, but it was a hell of a lot longer than 15 seconds. Eli engaged him with incredible, not only heroism and willingness to put himself in harm's way and potentially draw fire from a guy with a rifle that's much more suited to shooting at that kind of distance, but he absolutely heroically put himself in harm's way, engaged the threat, made 2 out of 4 shots. The mass shooting stopped. Guy still had a rifle in his hands, still capable of killing more people. Eli then advanced to about 25 yards away, which is still a good, healthy distance. Where I'm shooting the most these days is at Indy Arms on their rifle range. And the maximum distance you can shoot is 25 yards. And you don't see a lot of people with handguns with targets set all the way back at 25 yards. Now, if you go on the internet, everybody shoots groupings, the size of a quarter at 25 yards because it's the internet and nobody much cares to tell the truth. But in reality, and I've watched a lot of people shoot a lot of rounds as a firearms instructor and chief range safety officer who ran the public range here in Indianapolis for a number of years. And there aren't a lot of people who are proficient at 25 yards. Eli took 4 more shots in a standing, unsupported position and made all 4 hits from 25 yards. At this point, the bad guy is stumbling back toward the hallway leading to the bathroom. Eli then closed to a closer distance of about 25 feet and made his last 2 shots and ended the fight. And look, guy still had a rifle in his hands. Guy was still moving. Guy was still a threat. And Eli did exactly what he needed to do under the circumstances with incredible bravery, incredible marksmanship, incredible skill, and incredible cool-headedness, literally under fire. And I've seen the security video. I think I'm one of the few non-law enforcement people who have been able to witness the security video, which the Greenwood Police, I was very grateful to them, but as Eli's attorney, they showed me. And at one point, an assistant chief there in Greenwood, who's watching the video over my shoulder, and I'm sure he'd seen it many, many times. At one point, he pauses the video, he reaches around and clicks the mouse to pause it, and he goes, "You can't tell me that guy's got no training. Look at how he moves. Look at his accuracy. You can't tell me that guy's a novice shooter." Because Eli had no formal training. His grandfather taught him how to shoot. when he was just 10, 12 years old. I was talking to him the next day after his family hired me. And by the way, people say, why did he need a lawyer? Well, if you're involved in a homicide investigation, it makes a lot of sense to have a lawyer familiar and experienced in homicide investigations to steer you through that process. Whether you've done anything wrong is not the issue. Whether you're going to get prosecuted or sued is not even the issue. I was able to take all the media calls, which came in from everywhere across the country. One of my great pleasures was to be able to tell CNN and MSNBC to pound sand about 10 times. That was a lot of fun. And yes, I did it pro bono. I didn't charge Eli a dime and had no intention of doing that, as I told his family. But when I was talking to him the next day, I said, when you go to the range, are you really good? Are you really accurate? He goes, I don't know, never been to the range. When you've taken training, were you like the best one in the class? I've never taken any training. So that's what we have. And we have an incredible hero right here in our midst in central Indiana. It's a 3-year anniversary. And listen, I think that bears some recognition. And I think the appropriate recognition would be an award of what's called the Sagamore of the Wabash from Governor Braun. It's Indiana's highest award. It's made for very specific, very significant contributions as a Hoosier to Indiana and to their community. And if Eli Dicken doesn't meet that criteria, I don't know who does. And so I'm going to have a petition that I'm going to get set up online, and I'm going to have a number at the governor's office. I've had some indirect communication with the governor already, but I think Eli Dicken ought to receive a Sagamore of the Wabash, and I would love my listeners to participate in making that happen. More news on that on future Gun Guy shows and on my social media, which I'll talk about. Right now, blown past the 3/4 hour. We're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Kendall and Casey.
Look at how he just broke it further than it was already broken. Why would you think he's going to fix anything?
You had the chance.
You know you need to listen to? Us. We're the ones who are right. We're the ones who will tell you how it is. We're the ones who always stand up and own it. You need to listen to us. Stop listening to these politicians. They are to blame.
Kendall and Casey. Weekdays 9 till noon on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Guy Relford for Tactical Firearms Training. Our next, Essentials of Indiana Gun Law. 5 hours, the most important legal information you need as an Indiana gun owner. Coming up on Saturday, October 18th in Avon at Parabellum's Firearms and Indoor Range. Sign up at tactical-firearms.com. Click on upcoming courses at tactical-firearms.com.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Everybody knows Hubler's got the best warranty around. 10 years, 200,000 miles. But did you know? Now you can get that same limited powertrain warranty on new Toyotas. Introducing the all-new Hubler Toyota. Get grand opening savings all month long. And right now, lease a new 2025 RAV4, just $349 per month. Or a new Tacoma, $299 per month. Plus, choose from Camrys, Corollas, Highlanders, Tundras, and more.
Hubler's got you covered.
At the all-new Hubler Toyota on US 31 South in Indianapolis. Visit HublerToyota.com. Grand opening savings and the best warranty around. 10 years, 200,000 miles.
Cover me!
Select models, approved credit, plus tax tag title license 199 dealer doc. RAV4 model 4432, Tacoma model 7540, 36 months, $29.99 due, 0 security, 10,000 annual miles, 15 cents per mile thereafter. Expires 7/31.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show next Saturday and Sunday at the Howard County Fairgrounds in Greentown. The best dealers in the region, hundreds of tables, just $6 for adults. Kids 12 and under get in free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade. Next Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Howard County Fairgrounds in Greentown. For more info, visit CentralIndianaGunshows.com.
Tony Katz here for Premier Arms in Brownsburg, Central Indiana's premier arms dealer. They have over 1,200 firearms in stock, the largest selection of used firearms in the area, from pre-Civil War to modern guns. Premier Arms has always put their customers ahead of their profits. They always have ammunition available when a customer buys a firearm. Everyone can find what they're looking for at Premier Arms in Brownsburg, 3754 South Green Street. Find them online at premierarms.com. Premierarms.com. Tell them Tony Katz sent you.
Why'd I go to the doctor? My heart would race just taking my son to practice. It didn't feel right. So I got checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
You support them. Who supports you? Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick provide insight, encouragement, and resources to help you navigate a loved one's recovery on the Supporting Sobriety podcast. Listen and get support wherever you get your podcasts. Second to none on the Second Amendment. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. So we're just wrapping up the show here. Got about a minute and a half left. Thanks for being here. Looking at the YouTube chat, and by the way, if you ever listen into the show in the future, you want to follow along on video as well as participate in the chat feature, you're welcome to do that. Just go to YouTube, search for 93 WIBC, and once my show starts, about 5:05, then boom, comes right up on the WIBC page. You can click on that, and the video is nothing to write home about, but it's, I think people, there are several people that enjoy using the chat feature. But one thing that came up on there, someone correctly said, I think correcting someone else, I didn't scroll back far enough to see the whole discussion during the break, but someone apparently had said that they had heard that Eli, and I heard this over and over and over again, that Eli got banned from the Simon Mall after the shooting in Greenwood, and from the Greenwood Park Mall or any Simon Mall, and that rumor was all over the place. In fact, whenever I've posted about it, somebody will pop off and say that, and that never happened. The Simon folks did not ban him. And listen, did they have a policy that says no weapons? Yes. You go into a Simon Mall today, there's a code of conduct posted. I've seen them on a black pillar as you walk in. I've seen them posted on the wall. One of those things says no weapons. Was Eli violating Simon's policy? Yes, he was. Did that make it illegal? No. Are dozens and dozens and dozens of people alive today because Eli chose to violate their policy? Yes. And it's a policy that I violate every time I go to a mall, which is just the way it's going to be. But I wanted to correct that and jump in and agree with the person who corrected someone on that point. That is this week's show. We hope you enjoyed it and hope you come back. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Citizens, since we each upgraded to Xfinity in our homes, the Wi-Fi